You might be wondering why Python. So I am going to give you a couple of reasons. In other languages like Java, Scala, .NET, a lot of syntax has to be followed. But in Python, we have a very simplified syntax based on indentation. It's more like a natural language and one of the quickest to learn. Another important reason is that developers need to consult the community for debugging exceptions during development, and hence community support plays a vital role defining how popular a language is, and Python has a very big community. After that, Python is a complete package. How? Because it provides a lot of frameworks like SciPy for engineering applications, science and maths, NumPy for scientific computing, and Django for server-side web development. There are various Python distributions available in the market. For the purpose of this exercise, we are going to use Anaconda. From Anaconda website, we can download any of the versions. After downloading, you need to install it using that installer, and mostly you will be clicking on next, and then there would be a couple of options you need to select, and yes, then installation would be done. After the installation is complete, you need to run the Anaconda Navigator to start the development environment. So you can type like this on your command line. When it opens, it will be showing you a lot of different type of IDEs like Data, Lore, Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook. The one that is most widely used is Jupyter Notebook that you have to launch. And it will be opening in the browser. And here you will see a couple of different folders. Here you can start a new Python notebook like this, and you'll see a new page opened on the browser itself. Before moving forward, we should know where we can refer the Python libraries and APIs. So I'm going to show you a couple of links and pages where you can refer documentations. So this is the official Python website where you can refer either the tutorial page or library reference. So here we can find tutorials related to different modules in Python. If you want to look into the theory, this would be a really good read. Or to understand Python better, library reference would be a good resource to look into the APIs and what all modules are available. So there are a couple of built-in data types that we are also going to cover in our practical today. There are a couple of operations that we'll be looking at. For example, Boolean operations and or these are pretty much similar to any other languages. And then we can look at couple of comparisons. Even these are very much similar to any other languages, depending upon what type of operation we'll be doing. Then we'll be covering couple of numeric types like plus, minus, multiplication. Then there are a couple of functions, absolute, float, etc. There are different ways to develop in Python. We can write in text file and run it using Python interpreter, or otherwise we can use the notebook as we just saw. Let's try our hands on the Python notebook doing couple of mathematical operations. So we are using the same operators as are being used in couple of other languages. Plus, minus, multiplication, division, etc. Apart from that, there are a couple of functions that I'm going to show you. For example, absolute. It will show you the absolute value of an integer. Next, we're going to see the round function, which is going to round up to the next integer. So if we put 5.5, it will show us 6. And we can also round up to certain decimal places. If we put two stars between two numbers, it means the power. Let's try some bitwise operators like OR. So if we do 4 or 3, that becomes 7. Or if we do to say 12 or 2, that becomes 14. Let's try XOR operation in which bits add up only when they are different, otherwise they'll cancel each other. So 3 XOR 4 becomes 7. Similarly, if we do 2 XOR 4, that becomes 6. But if we do 12 XOR 12, which means same bits, it becomes 0. Now if we do AND, it will do the bitwise AND. So 13 and 20 becomes 4. Let's take an example where all the bits are different. So 3 and 8, it becomes 0. If we do a bitwise shift operation for 2 by 3 places to the left, it becomes 8. Similarly, if we shift 16 by 2 places to the right, it becomes 4. Now let's get our hands dirty on one of the data structures, that is set. So set by definition will always contain unique elements, and we can initialize one of them by writing equal to set with brackets. Let's try adding a couple of numbers here. So we are going to do set1 dot add 13. So that is one of the numbers that is now a part of the set. Let's add up 14 and then 13, and then we are again adding another number, that is 15. Let's now try to print the contents of the set by using the print function. So we see only 13, 14 and 15 even though we added 13 twice. Next, let's have a look at the length function. So it is going to give us the length of any data structure. So length in bracket, we are going to print the reference. So it gives the length as 3. Now we're going to see how to write if statements. So we can write, for example, if then condition, that is 3 in set 1. So print something, and then if 13 in set, print something. So we see it is only printing the second one as 3 is not present in the set. Then we have the min function to find the minimum value in a data structure. So 13 and then max, which is going to give us 15.